Hello and welcome to Games from Folktales, a podcast that mixes historical research and tabletop role-playing settings. I'm your host, Timothy Ferguson, for what's likely to be a brief episode, The Eye That Blunts the Sword. I've been listening to the Saga Thing podcast, which is about the Icelandic sagas recently, and there are some ongoing tropes. One is a fun little power that if a character sees a sword, that sword becomes blunt. Let's model this. It's probably a Muto Taram level 20 spell, range I, duration Sun, target individual, the effect being that the sword becomes blunt, having a -3 damage modifier, so it's basically Edge of the Razor in reverse. If a player argued for Purdo Taram instead, I'd allow that. So that sounds like a really useful power, although oddly in the sagas it never seems to make any difference to the outcome of battles. One hero is surprised by the power and is unable to hurt his enemy for a few strikes. Then he adjusts his strategy and hits the man hard enough to break the bone in his rival's arm. After that, he works over the rest of the guy's skeleton. A hero who knows his foe has this power turns up to a different battle with 2 swords. He lets the power fall on the first one and uses the other one to strike off his enemy's head. I often feel that the second look at a subject is the stronger. My second take on this is rather than altering the damage of the sword, it should just make it so that the sword cannot inflict light or medium wounds. This matches what's described above better. The first hero gets around the power by causing a heavy wound, and then using the combat advantage given to him to keep inflicting further heavy wounds. To model that would be a Muto Taram level 25 spell, range I, duration Sun, target individual. Effect, the sword is unable to deal light or medium wounds. My level calculation on that is that it's a base 4 spell, a highly unnatural change, +1 for I, +2 for Sun, +2 for metal. A character without might can spend a fatigue level to spark a mystical power. Arguably, both powers could be vested in a single person, but there's something to me that seems a little odd about that sort of double dipping. If there's something cosmological going on here, you shouldn't have 2 bites at that particular cherry. As an aside, no hero seems to have this power, only villains. And no one who uses it seems, in the long term, to prosper. Might it be a minor gift of the infernal? In that case, you might trigger it with a confidence point gained by sin. See you next week.